Working, the inner journey. Before you begin the path working, decide which aspect of your personality you wish to work on. Then read the description of the corresponding sphere and memorize as much detail as you can. Once you have worked with each of the, and it says 11 Sephirot, I'm thinking it must include Dart.
Yeah.
In separate meditations, you can start to combine two or more to experience the relationship and interplay between them. For example, you may be finding it difficult to make decisions because your judgment is often confused by your emotions. If so, you will need to explore the qualities of Hod, the intellect, and Netzach, the emotions, in order to reconcile these complementary aspects and address the imbalance. When you have more experience, you may wish to progress through all, and it mentions 11 Sephirot again, sequentially within a single meditation, which is what we're going to do now.
Amazing. Now I'm going to just turn the overhead light on.
Okay.
Is this the same book that you did the other day?
It is indeed. This is a magical book.
I'll have to order it.
Right, relax. Just focus now on your breathing. Let your breathing be gentle. Realizing that we have this amazing time together and we're delving into something that is wonderful and awesome. And allow with all the out-breath to let go of anything that holds you tight. Relax. Close your eyes and visualize yourself standing outside a vast temple complex. Allow the image of the temple and its surroundings to arise spontaneously. Accept what you see and do not be tempted to analyze the imagery, or you may affect the quality of the connection. Now, follow the instructions given for your chosen Sephirot, which will lead you into the temple of your choice. And we will now proceed through each of the Sephirot. Malkut, the kingdom. Contemplate this Sephirot if you need to be more pragmatic and grounded. You enter the temple and find yourself in the entrance hall, standing between two pillars rising from floor to ceiling. The left-hand pillar is of white marble and the right one of black onyx. They represent the pillars of severity and mercy, and you now stand between them, acting as the central column of will and equilibrium. Before you is a small altar on which can be seen symbols of the four elements: a chalice of water, a crystal, and an incense burner from which arises the sweet scented smoke that purifies this sacred place. In the serenity and stillness, you are able to identify the nature of any problems that you may be presented with in your life at this time, and what you need to do to resolve them. Think through the practical stages and consider the consequences of various actions to see if they bring about the solution you require. Having done so, you should be able to identify the source of the problem and so avoid such difficulties recurring. Looking down, you see that the floor is composed of black and white tiles to symbolize the complementary principles in the universe. In the middle, framed in white, is a large diagram of the Tree of Life depicting the 10 Sephirot connected by the 22 paths. It is evidently a map of the temple complex, and you are in the lowest sphere of Malkut. The checkered floor and the 2 pillars have the effect of grounding and centering you. You have a sense of security and stability, which gives you the confidence to explore this sacred place and discover its secrets. As the incense clears, you notice 3 doors at the far wall, each partially obscured by a curtain on which is emblazoned a symbol of the path beyond. To your left, the curtain depicts an ox, symbol of physical labor. The central curtain depicts a house, symbol of form, structure, and stability. And to your right, the curtain shows a camel, symbol of the inner journey and of selfless service. For the purposes of this exercise, if you wish to continue pathworking up the tree, you pass through the curtain overhanging the center door and enter the cloistered corridor leading to the inner chamber of Yesod. Otherwise, leave Malkut and proceed to your next chosen Sephirah, or close the exercise and ground yourself. We choose to continue. Yesod, the foundation. Contemplate this Sephirah if you need to be more confident and positive about your self-image. You enter a chamber furnished predominantly in red. The drapes are a deep, vibrant shade of red, and the candles on the altar are also red. You find the color stimulating and feel more alive than you have for a very long time. The walls of this chamber are lined with full-length mirrors in which you can see yourself at various significant stages in your life. The person you have presented to the world in infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. All are aspects of yourself, and all were creations of your conditioning and circumstance. Each needs to be acknowledged. If, for example, you see a playful child who has been subdued by an adult, you, who believes it is necessary to be serious, rational, and responsible at all times, then you may have to release that child periodically by indulging in an activity that is pure, mindless fun, or risk creating an unbalanced psyche. Hod, reverberation. Contemplate this Sephirah if you need to increase your concentration and be more receptive to new ideas. You enter the inner chamber of Hod, which is a vast library containing written accounts of humanity's search for knowledge in all its forms. The predominant color is yellow. The carpet and the walls are a warm shade of yellow. although much of the wall surface is obscured by massive bookcases which tower from floor to ceiling. Each contains leather-bound volumes and scrolls on every subject that has galvanized the human mind since the written word was created. Here are to be found the classics of philosophy, natural history, science, and the arts, which have inspired the great thinkers, social reformers, and inventors of the ages to further the inexorable progress of civilization. Everything you have always wanted to know is here to be discovered. Do not underestimate your innate capacity to recall facts and communicate ideas. Everything you have learned and experienced has left its indelible impression in your mind. You have only to enter this study to recollect it. Netzach, eternity. Contemplate this Sephirot when you need to get in touch with your sensual nature, or if you are acutely self-conscious. You enter the inner chamber of Netzach, in which the dominant color is orange. It is opulently furnished with oil paintings whose subject is the gratification of pleasure in all its forms. The flames of incense burners send shadows dancing on the walls, and the air is heady with a sweet, musty fragrance that you find intoxicating. Your senses are heightened by the mildly narcotic quality of the scent, and you feel as if you are drifting in a dream that is so pleasant and relaxing that you do not wish to wake up. In place of an altar, the center of the floor is taken up with a large sunken bath whose steaming waters are too inviting to resist. You discard your robe and enter up to the waist, luxuriating in the heat of the water, which dissolves any tension you may have had in your lower back and legs. You take a pitcher from the side of the bath and empty the water over your shoulders, and as you do so, any remaining anxiety is washed away. There are scented oils and soaps on the side of the bath, which you avail yourselves of with no sense of guilt, for this has all been made available for your use. While you bathe, the sound of mellifluous music drifts in from an anteroom. It is a bittersweet, strangely familiar sound that evokes many memories for you, but it also reawakens a yearning for a country you cannot quite recall, but which you intuitively know to be home. When the music stops, you rise from the bath, dress in a fresh robe, and satiate your hunger and thirst at a banquet laid out in your honor. Everything you love to eat and drink is there in abundance for you, and for you alone. Sephirot, beauty. Contemplate this Sephirot when you need guidance. You enter an enclosed courtyard with verdant lawns, flower beds, and a large fountain. The lush green foliage and the soft trickling sound of the water brings a deep sense of peace, and you approach the fountain to drink from its pure, sparkling stream. As you gaze into the water, You are mesmerized by the sunlight glinting on the surface, and for a moment you close your eyes to avoid the glare. When you look again, you see the reflection of your inner guide. Whatever form it takes, it is an aspect of your own personality, your higher self, which you can call upon at any time of the day or night, and be assured that it will answer. Gevura, judgment. Contemplate this Sephirot when you need to be decisive. You enter the inner chamber of Gevura, which is lined with dark mahogany panels, lending it an austere atmosphere, which is slightly softened by indigo drapes. Here you find yourself in the role of a loving parent who must decide on the best course of action in a dispute between two of your children, the dispute being a problem that you need to resolve in real life. Listen as one child argues in favor of a course of action that you are considering and the other puts the opposite view. By externalizing the argument in this way, you should be able to determine which course of action will bring the result you require. Chesed, mercy. Contemplate this Sephirot when you need to practice tolerance, compassion, and forgiveness. You enter the chamber of Chesed, which is lined with purple drapes, and immediately sense the presence of discarnate beings. But you have no fear. They are not concerned with you. They are wraiths lost in a netherworld of shadow. As your eyes become adjusted to the dim glow of the torches that illuminate the room, you begin to discern a group of malnourished children huddled around a maternal figure who is attempting to give them shelter beneath her cloak. But there are too many for her to protect. These are the phantoms of fear, famine, poverty, mistreatment, ignorance, violence, addiction, disease, doubt, and despair. As you watch, you sense your heart center softening and a rush of compassion for those who are haunted by these spirits. Now, what can you do to put them to rest? Dart, higher knowledge. Contemplate this Sephirot when you are seeking inspiration or an answer to a specific question. You enter the chamber of Da'at, which is hung with soft blue drapes, and are immediately overwhelmed by the rarefied atmosphere generated by those who have worshipped in this place over the centuries. It is a place of serenity and stillness, visited by many pilgrims and seekers after truth. And now it is your turn. Come as a child, eager and willing to receive whatever gift will be imparted to you. In the center, on the altar, is a chalice of azure water. You gaze into it, and as you do so, you lose all sense of self. You forget your worldly identity and concerns. They have no meaning in this place, which exists at the border of this world and the next. Look deep into the water as images form in the darkening depths. What do you see? Bina, understanding. Contemplate this Sephirot when you are looking for insight into a particular problem or to understand the significance of a difficult situation. You enter the chamber of Bina, which is hung with violet drapes. In the center, suspended from the ceiling, is a huge globe of the world. It almost touches the floor, so when you approach it, you are about the same size as South America. The detail is astonishing. Every contour of the land is reproduced so faithfully, you could almost believe that you are suspended in space above the earth, looking down through the clouds. You focus on your own country. Then, as you watch, you begin to see the roads and the rivers in greater detail, as if you were flying overhead. You can feel the breeze on your face and smell the fragrance of freshly cut grass and flowers. The closer you go, the more detail you can see until you can distinguish your own town and the people moving below. Consider what is important to their lives and the intensity and immediacy with which they live. Can you detach yourself from this materialistic worldview? Can you be in the world but not of it? You draw closer until you can look down on yourself, sitting in meditation. Now, formulate your question. See yourself in the situation you are concerned about, as if you were watching yourself in a scene from your life. What advice would you give yourself? Hokmah, wisdom. Contemplate this Sephirot when you seek enlightenment or a deep sense of peace. You enter the chamber of Hokmah, which is furnished with white drapes embroidered with silver and gold thread. The altar is fashioned from a single piece of ivory, and upon it have been placed one silver and one gold candlestick. A figure stands before the altar in quiet reflection, with their back to you. As you approach, they turn to see who has entered, and you meet their gaze. It is your higher self. In his or her eyes, you see the summation of all that you have learned and experienced over many lifetimes. What do you see? Now you find yourself looking out from the eyes of your older, wiser self. What do you see in the younger you looking back? What was the principal lesson of your present incarnation? How was it to be achieved? Ask what you will of your higher self and listen as they answer your questions with infinite patience. They will not judge you, nor will they speak in terms of what you should or should not do. The higher self knows that what we consider to be mistakes are merely learning experiences. To avoid repeating them, we simply need to acknowledge that we created those challenges and difficulties, and to understand for what purpose. This is the meaning of wisdom. Keta, the crown. Contemplate this Sephirot when you wish to tune into the divine aspect of your nature for healing or detachment from negativity generated by other people at work or at home. You enter the Temple of Keta, which is open to the sky. Your journey through the chambers of the lower temple complex is now over, and the next realm awaits. Your eyes are drawn upwards to a pinpoint of light in the distance, far beyond our solar system. As you fix your gaze upon this point, you sense yourself leaving your body and rising as light as a bubble through the air. You ascend through the clouds and on past the planets into the vast stillness of space. You pass the galaxies and the enormous gas cloud from which new stars are born. You see dying stars, the light from which will not reach the earth for many millennia. You pass into a realm where there are no celestial bodies and no physical life as we know it. Here, there is no sound, no movement, and therefore no time. In the distance, one pinpoint of light stands out in the emptiness of the void. As you approach, you see that it is not a star, but a tunnel of immense white light. You are drawn to it by a sense of belonging, of coming home. As you enter the tunnel, you sense the presence of divine, discarnate beings who encircle you as you ascend. These angels, or highly evolved spiritual entities, are radiant with joy at your return. You enter a realm of pure consciousness and experience the inexpressible beauty and perfection of the divine. Linger as long as you wish. Be receptive to any form of healing you are offered, and you are offered healing for whatever you are needing to heal. And accept any gift with gratitude. Ask any question or request any blessing or intervention you require in your life or another's, and know that it will be given in the form and at the time the angels deem right. And just for a moment, be with the amazing experience of each Sephirot you have visited, and feel yourself carried, held, protected, and lifted, always lifted. And just stay in that space of total healing. And then, when you are ready, and only when you are ready, wriggle your fingers and your toes.